Good morning, people in the south, and good day, my people in the east, my friends in the west. Good afternoon, and my fellow entrepreneurs in the north. Good evening. How you guys doing? You know, from the beginning of this channel, we spoke about many other things that needs to be understood by the emerging entrepreneurs and how the entrepreneurs should understand the nitty-gritties around themselves, should be aware of their surroundings, the compliances that they need to know, except the fact that they have a role that they themselves needs to play as entrepreneurs and founders. So today I want to engage on the difference between entrepreneurs and founders and what are their roles. Very important. I like doing that. I like to say very important. So as I was highlighting, today I would like to highlight the difference between entrepreneurs and founders. And I know there's still a lot of us who don't understand or who would argue that there's a difference or would argue that there's no difference. But the fact of the matter is the two have a thin line between them and we need to understand it. So what is the difference between founders and entrepreneurs? Mostly founders are the guys who founded the business or the company, the guys who sort of came up with the business or the company. So founders are mostly focusing on building the business, building the entity. Founders mostly focuses on that. Now I want to throw the line. Now entrepreneurs, on the other hand, are focusing on building and scaling the business part of it, especially the innovation that they've started the business with. They're focusing on that. So founders focuses on building the entity or the company, while entrepreneurs focuses on building and scaling the business that they started with, especially the innovation that attracted them into entrepreneurship. See, this line is very thin, very, very thin, but there is a line between the two. We need to understand that. Let me give you an example with me for you to see that I can be two in one. So I can be a founder and an entrepreneur at the same time, because I first founded my business or my company, meaning I was a founder or I'm a founder. A founder does what? A founder focuses on building the business or the entity. So I first founded my business. I came up with an idea of starting a business. Then I founded the business. I came up with names and all of those things. And then after this, I started to run with the innovation, the line in between. I started to run with the innovation that gave me an idea to found this business, meaning I'm now an entrepreneur. So I'm running with the idea or the innovative idea that I had, which sparked a thought to start and build the entity as a founder. And I'm working on this innovative idea, building it to scale it. So basically I am two in one. I'm the founder, I'm also an entrepreneur at the same time. So we need to understand our roles when it comes to that, because sometimes we get our wires crossed when it comes to this thin line, because it's very thin. This line is very, very thin. Much as it's thin, we tend to to overlap into the other, as we are supposed to be operating as the another, during the time when you're supposed to be operating as a founder, you find yourself overlapping into the entrepreneur side and start operating as an entrepreneur, and vice versa, So you need to understand the roles. You need to understand what are the roles of the entrepreneur or the entrepreneur you are, what are the roles of the founder you are. So mostly we start as entrepreneurs, and we start playing roles of entrepreneurs as entrepreneurs, and we later start playing the roles of a founder as founders, because we would have built and scaled the business enough for the business to have its own systems that are managing it, so that we can safely move into becoming founders, sit down in our offices, relax, knowing that very well that we have built and scaled our businesses and integrated them into systems that are going to look after these businesses. Then we can safely become founders. I'm trying to explain this thing for any emerging entrepreneur, for any child who's going to be watching this video 15 years, 20 years from now, for them to understand how the reality of things are out there. Because mostly what you learn from the books that you read in school or in the classroom is not exactly what you're going to come across in the real life situation. Real life situation will always give you the opposite of what you learned. A real life situation will always give you the things that you were never told, you were never taught, or the things that you've never been told about. For example, a real life situation will teach you the things that no one taught you about what entrepreneurship entails. Classroom situation taught you that entrepreneurship, you're going to start your business, come up with an idea, build this and that system, go out, show it to people start buying into it. No, it doesn't work like that in a real life situation as an entrepreneur. It works totally differently. The book never taught us that. Some of us, I know, we've studied entrepreneurship. Most of the varsity students, college students, today you even get high school students who are learning entrepreneurship. There's specifically a subject called entrepreneurship, or a module called entrepreneurship. They never taught us that entrepreneurship is a ton of loneliness journey, or it's a long journey of loneliness. It's lonely, that journey. You're going to be alone in everything that you're going to be doing as an entrepreneur. You are going to be working alone. You're going to be working alone. That means it's a journey that you're not going to get a chance to get transport to travel this journey. So you're going to travel by foot, meaning you're going to walk with who? Alone. It's a journey that you do not know how far the destination is. Many journeys will mostly present maybe an information board along the way that tells you how far you are from reaching your destination. But entrepreneurship does not offer such information boards. You will be walking this journey. You will be walking the journey that does not present the distance you are left with in your walking to your destination. This is the journey that you're going to walk, and as you walk, you're going to come across valleys. You're going to come across dusty streets. You're going to come across fire. You're going to be exposed to a lot of heat and fire, which you did not even know exists. You're going to swim across large rivers in this journey. You're going to swim across large rivers which are infested with crocodiles. human consuming crocodiles and other predators for that matter. You're going to swim across that. And if you don't have the heart and the head, you'll be swallowed, my friend. The book does not tell us that the journey that you're going to take, the entrepreneurship journey that you're going to take, it's a lonely journey that consists of all of those things. It did not tell us that you are going to be alone to a point where you start running out of money yourself, because mostly when you start with your last savings, and you're hoping that by the time your savings runs out, you would have made money and covered all your savings and saved them back again. The book doesn't tell you that. The book doesn't tell you that you are going to owe your car. The car that the bank has financed you, you're going to get to a point where you are not able to afford the monthly installment, and you're going to start being behind with payments on that car. Same thing applies to your house. The house that is being financed by the bank is going to be behind with payments. The book did not tell us that the banks are going to call you wanting their money. They don't care whether you are working or not. Else they're going to threaten to come and take your car and house. The book did not tell us that you'll be sitting there and owing school fees for your 5 kids who are still in school because you were late in making those kids. You started making kids very late. By the time you started your entrepreneurship journey, because you were scared, you had fears, it was the time you were busy making those babies. When you realize the babies are now 5 and you can't afford them with your job, then you realize, I could have taken the entrepreneurship journey earlier, such that by the time I have these kids, I am self-sustainable and able to afford their lives. Now you are coming into entrepreneurship at the time when you have already made these kids. The kids are here, they're all going to school, and you can't afford their school fees. The book did not tell us that. The book did not tell us that you are going to be losing your friends, your family members, your acquaintances along the way, one by one. Every time you call any of them, they will ignore your calls because they know you're going to be asking for financial assistance. The book did not tell us that. So there's a lot that the book deprived for us to understand this journey. It was fortunate for some of us. I'll give an example with myself. I came into embarking on this journey knowing exactly what the journey entails. I came into the journey prepared emotionally, psychologically, and mentally, So I knew that this journey is a lonely journey. Am I prepared to be alone? Yes, I am. Am I prepared psychological to take the punches and go through all this fire? Yes, I am. Am I prepared to swim the 3-kilometer wide river which is infested with crocodiles and rhinos and hippopotamuses? And yes, I am. Am I prepared to, Yet you don't know how far your destination is. Fortunately for some of us, not all of us, some of us, we came into embarking on this journey knowing what the journey entails. We came with a bag full of shoes because we knew we're going to walk this journey barefooted at some point. So you're going to wear one type of shoes for 6 months, walking this journey. When the shoe starts to wear out, you will have to change the shoe and take another one. So I came with a bag full of shoes, pairs of shoes. So I'll be able to change the pairs of shoes as they wear out on my walk through the journey towards my destination. The unfortunate part is many of us don't know how far we are left to reach the destination. And another unfortunate part is many of us don't know that the moment you take a decision to go through this journey, you must know that you cannot avoid all of these things that I've mentioned. You cannot avoid swimming across a 3-kilometer wide river. You're gonna have to go through it. And once you go in, there's no looking back. The door that you used to come in will be shut and locked. If you manage to squeeze yourself back, you must know you're not gonna come in. You're not gonna come back in again into entrepreneurship. You will never come back into entrepreneurship. Then you'll be able to tell people that, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I was there, I've been there. It's not a child's play. I walked for 10 kilometers and I quit. You need to be prepared for this journey. The book did not tell us that. So that's basically what I wanted to distinguish between the two. That you're going to become an entrepreneur who's going to work on their innovative ideas to build and scale. Later you'll become a founder. Don't worry about being a founder now if it sounds fancy for you or for your title. You will become a founder later. For now, go through the fire. Wear the shoes, change those shoes that are worn out, and wear another. You've got shoes with different length or breadth of sole, The thickness of the sole of your shoes will determine how far you walk this journey before you can change the pair and get another pair on. The thickness of the sole of your shoes will determine how far you're going to walk before you can take a rest, drink some water, and then change the pair. Throw away the old or keep it in the bag for in case. Just for in case. Just for in case you need to step on something. Because you don't know what you're going to come across ahead. You might find thorns that might be able to protrude the thickness of the sole of the shoes that you just put on. Because it's not thick enough. So you need to put something underneath. So if you've thrown away the shoes that you thought are worn out, what are you going to put underneath the sole of the shoes where the thorns are protruding through into your flesh? You're going to have a problem. So keep them in the bag and keep walking. The book did not tell us all of that. Now, we rush into this thing not understanding all of those because we want the fancy part of it. We want to be called founders. I want my Aram Vego Pty Ltd, Aram Vego Holdings to shine, and when everyone asks, then the founder will appear to be me. Then I'll be given, the medals and the accolades, and no, that guy did it. We all rush to that point. We rush to see the names that we've given to our companies shining and being on top because we want to be praised that, hey man, how did you do it? How did you make it up there? Because you can't wait for people to recognize your company name as a new brand in the blog. You can't wait for your company name to be shown on TV screens as the new name or as the new disruptive name in the market. So we rush for that spot to become founders. Yet we are not done with going through the journey as entrepreneurs, which you cannot go over. You can only go through. So when you give your company a name, give it a name that this is the name that I'm going to go through the entrepreneurship journey with the name in my mind, with the name that's going to resonate with the journey that I'll be walking through to the destination. The name that you give to your company should be the name that resonates with the journey that you're going to walk. The name that you're giving to your company should be able to display the journey that you walked. When the name gets praised on media, when the name gets praised on different pedestals, when the name gets lifted up in different places of the world, the name should be able to reflect the journey that you walk. I know a lot of us like to giving our companies names, and then we mostly like to use our parents' names, our children's names, it's hard today, our children's names, our own names. We would like to see our names being on top, top of things. It feels good, that my family name is up there. My family name it's out and about. I put my family name on the map. It's hard to be. I put my family name on the map. Now my family name is well known because of me. So let's have that in mind, such that the name of the company that you are going to come up with becomes the name that will be resonating with the journey that we walk. It becomes the name that you will be able to, or becomes the name that will be able to share a story with the rest of the world. Which story? The story of your journey. I know a lot of us would like to see our surnames and grandfathers' names up there. Most of us like to use our surnames and grandfathers' names as our business names. But think about the name that has to resonate with your journey. I'm going to be a grandfather, whether I'm alive or not. I'm going to be a grandfather at some point to a group of people. They might find themselves naming their companies after me. They would, if they know me, or even if they don't, they would get to a point where they ask, what was the grandpa's name? I just want to start a company. I don't know which name to choose. And then there's, your grandfather's name was Adam. Oh, Adam. Oh, I'll use his name. So we all would like to see our fathers, grandfathers, grandparents' names being up there because of us. But give your company a name that is going to talk to the journey that you walked. So at the same time as we today's hot, as we at the same time as we I need to open the windows. I haven't opened the windows in the office. At the same time as we walk this journey, at the same time as we go through everything that we're going through as we walk this journey, we also need to understand the important things that are going to be facing us when we stop. Not necessarily stop, because this journey you cannot easily stop walking this journey. If you were once an entrepreneur, you will always be an entrepreneur. But let me just say, at the time we decide to move from being entrepreneurs to become founders, where we find ourselves in offices, chilling and managing our businesses through our managers, because at some point we want to hire managers, senior managers, CEOs, and then you'll be there maybe as a chair or a chairperson or a chairman of the entire business or entire legacy that you built, and we will be faced with other challenges, because we are excited now that we're going through the journey, walking the journey. There's challenges, and some of us we're being excited by challenges. When we meet challenges, we get excited, challenged, and then you go through all of that. When you're done with that and you think, I'm done, I'm gonna now go back and relax as a founder, you will still find other challenges. So I want you to know that there's still going to be challenges in the office where you will be challenged as a founder. Because as a founder, you have founded this company, and this company has to now be well recognized, well known. You're building a brand, you're building to be, which you could not do concurrently with your innovative ideas when you were walking the journey of entrepreneurship as an entrepreneur. So now you are walking the journey of entrepreneurship in style as a founder now. So as a founder, you have come up with names that resonate with your journey, or you got to be able to understand that you are building this thing and you don't know how far your destination is. You don't know how many kilometers you're left with to reach your destination. So that means you are still going to come across other challenges on this side of the journey. Thin line. You are on the founder side. One of these challenges is finances. You need to be able to understand how finances work. Very important. I think I spoke about this I think I just touched base a little bit on the finances part of the business. You need to be able to understand the financial part of your business. Business finances as well as personal finances. You need to understand that. So that when you hire a CFO, the CFO is not going to be able to, or the CFO will not be running away or running around with your mind because he has figured that you do not understand these finances things. Then he will run around with you. So you need to understand these things from the basic level, So for you to find yourself in a good position to understand this thing, first deal with your personal finances. Fix your personal finances, because I know many of us, we have issues with our personal finances. Majority of us, we have issues with our personal finances, which comes with discipline. As it comes with discipline, most of us, we are not disciplined enough. Hence, we find our personal finances being in shambles because we are not disciplined enough. If your personal finances are not in order, it's going to affect your business finances. One way or the other, you will find your business finances being affected by your lack of discipline or your ill discipline in terms of personal finances. This is very imperative as well, or it's a very important skill to possess as a founder. Understand your personal finances, get your personal finances in order, balance your personal finances with your business finances. Then your business and personal finances will run concurrently on par. When you come this side, on the business side, everything will be in order. Taxes have been paid, employees have been paid, assets have been procured, you are retaining earnings every year, you are earning dividends. When you come this side, your debts have been maintained, school fees have been paid, all those things that you went through as you walked your journey, you are able to afford, you are able to pay, and you don't owe people on a personal level. You don't go around flashing money because now you have built this innovation and now the innovation is bringing in money. You don't go around showing off your financial muscle to the public because it's gonna bite you back. If you do that, it's gonna definitely bite you back in a very, very, very hurtful and fatal way. Keep the same standard of doing your things. Maintain your discipline. If possible, no one should actually know how good you are financially or how well off you are financially. No one should know how strong your financial muscle is. They might, yes, be able to go through and judge your business financials, but they shouldn't be able to know and understand how good your financial muscle is. Because you went through a lot as an entrepreneur, because you've been exposed to a lot of hustle, you've been exposed to a lot of hardship, you've been exposed to a lot of challenges from the young age when you dreamt about this innovation and everything. Now that you hit the jackpot, money is coming in, then you are going back now to make people aware, to make people pay for the blames that they used to throw at you, to make people pay for the disrespect that they showed you when you had nothing and walking the journey with torn up shoes. You want them to know now. Maintain the same discipline. No one should know. If you are used to wearing 100 rands pair of trousers, continue wearing 100 rands pair of trousers. There's nothing wrong with it. As long as you know that you're serving your purpose, you're doing the things that you've always wanted to do. Stop flashing your personal financial muscle. It will detrimentally dent your business financial muscle, one way or the other. For sure. So I've had a lengthy studies and examinations around these kind of things, and I was able to see where our issues lies, because we are black people and we've been through a lot, I'll share one day. I will share my secret about exactly what I'm talking about here. I will share my secret, but I want to share this secret in a way that is not gonna flex to anyone. I want to share this secret at a position where it's not going to sound and feel like a flex, but it will be more interesting and motivational for anyone at any level to listen to. And lastly, as you operate as a founder, you need to understand the hierarchy of delegation, of management that you need to employ, because there's a trend of people calling themselves CEOs. You register a company, you give it the name, you register a company, give it the name, you get the name approved. Now you are a director in this company. It has a tax number, perhaps VAT number and stuff. All of a sudden you call yourself a CEO. Let me tell you, a CEO has got senior managers reporting to them. CEOs have got senior managers reporting to them. If you do not have senior managers reporting to you, you are not a CEO. You cannot be a CEO that does not report to any advisory board of some kind. And a CEO reports to some kind of an advisory board. So let's look into that and give ourselves correct designations. Currently, I'm calling myself an operations manager because I've done this paid work. Before that, I was calling myself an operator. I called myself a specialist. Now I'm calling myself operations manager. See, levels. I promoted myself. I'm now an operations manager. When I leave the operations manager level, I'm going to have to appoint an operations manager, because now I understand what operations manager are supposed to do. I don't have a CEO, and I can't call myself a CEO because I don't have an advisory board yet. Where am I going to report to if I'm a CEO? So let's choose our designations correctly so that we can understand that we're building entities as founders. We're building businesses and brands as founders. And as entrepreneurs, we are building innovations and we're scaling them. So when you do that, these things must make sense so that eventually they come together as one entity that you build on both sides. That's what I wanted to share today, or on this episode specifically, for us to understand that there's a thin line between the two, and we need to understand the difference. So let's try and avoid to call ourselves CEOs. Let's understand why we're not supposed to be calling ourselves CEOs. You can't be a CEO who doesn't even have a salary. Doesn't make sense. Because we know as you walk through this journey, number one, you are still walking. You don't even have transport, but you are a CEO. It's not possible. What kind of a CEO is that? You know? So, we normally share today. I didn't share this information deliberately. We normally share support program sites where you go and look for support programs, and I've been sharing these sites. I still have a lot of information around these sites and support programs that are available. I think in the next episode I'll start to share new ones that are available. We share these sites so that you can go apply for support that you need as you walk this journey, because this journey is lonely. You need someone to respond to your hello, hello, hello. You need someone to say hello over here. If you don't get that response and you don't have the heart and the head, you will give up, drop everything and go back and find the door that you used to come through, and you will never come back. So the reason why I'm sharing those support programs is because of that. When you say hello, someone will respond. So today I'm not going to share any sites, but you look out for the next episodes, and then you'll be able to find new sites, new programs that you can apply and support your businesses. Don't forget to subscribe. There'll be a pop-up here. Click on the pop-up and click subscribe. Be part of this family and share the links of this channel, the links of these episodes everywhere, anywhere. Our information is not explicit. We share with any age, and then we'll be able to help our generational cares out there. Until next week, I'll see you next week. Next week.